Hey, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to do another 3D printing from concept to printing video. Today I'm going to do something that 90% of us I'm sure have run into, which is a missing remote control battery cover. This is from an old Gyration Remote control. These were really expensive back in the days. I don't even think you can find this brand anymore. But basically it's an air mouse and it worked really well for media center PCs. But I have seemed to have lost the cover for it. So before I get started, I did do some pre-measuring of some of the area here so the video go quicker. But basically what we want to do is create a cover. So I got the measurement from here to here, and then I have the measurement, and this is about 77.55. And basically I'm also giving some room for tolerances. And this is about 3 millimeters here. And the thickness of this is about 2 millimeters from this point to this point. So, and on top of that, I think we're going to also have to create something in the inside to keep the battery from moving, because this is a very deep crevice, I guess you can call it. So we're going to also have to save for that. So when we put the lid on, that the battery has something that's not loose in there. So let's go into Fusion 360 and give this a try. Like I said, I have some of the measurements that I'm thinking I'm going to use. I kind of sketched it out on paper, just to kind of see, just to go over what I need. That way we're not wasting a lot of time on the video going back and forth. One thing to note, that this edge right here, although the thickness of the plastic is about 2 millimeters here, it's 1 millimeter here. So what we're going to have to do is going to have a device here that, or some spring pressure, so I can latch onto that. And to this remote control, where it has that latch. Obviously, this one's a little different, and this remote, has it captured, which I wish all remote controls did that. Most of them do now. So that's what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is draw the side profile and then extrude the width out, because I think that's going to get us the easiest way to do this. Let's get into Fusion and let's give this a try. All right, so first things first, let's save the file. Oh, won't let me do that yet. So let's go ahead and create a new component. Let's call this component, and I'm just double clicking there, a remote cover. All right, let's Control C that. Let's see if it lets me save it now. Oh, save, there we go. And let's go ahead and save that. All right, so with this button active, this just means that the remote cover history and all the things I'm doing is going to be active for this. So if I created a new component, that history will be captured separately. And that history is kind of important. The history, you'll see it grow down on the bottom portion of the screen as we go along. That history and capturing it individually is very important, because if you do all your components all at once, it gets to be a big old mess. This is only going to be a one component part, so it doesn't really matter for this, but it's just good habit to always start a new component when you're designing anything. So let's go ahead and sketch out a rectangle, and I'm going to do it on the front face here. And actually, I'm going to go with a, should I do center point? Let's just do a 2 points, fine. And what we want is, you see how this is highlighted, the 1, the 3, or the width, I guess, is highlighted versus the length. We can actually just go ahead and type in the numbers we want. So I know I want this 2 millimeters high, and I know I want this to be 77.55 in the length. All right. So now that I have that, we're going to create another box. here, that's going to be 1.5, actually 2 in height and 1.5 in length. This is what's going to catch onto the body of the remote control. Let's just do one more here because we need, this can't print in midair, so I'm going to create a box from here to, let's make it 2. From here, 2 by 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this little section off. That way, because we're not going to need that anymore. All right, I'm going to trim, well, no, I'm not going to trim this yet, and you'll see why later. It's because I need to extrude these two parts separately. All right, so now that I have that, I'm going to go over to this side where the spring's going to be. And I'm going to sketch a construction line. So I'm going to click on my construction line here. I'm going to go 3 millimeters out. And I'm just going to delete this dimension thing for right now. Then I'm going to sketch another line kind of in the middle of this line. As you can see, I have, the way my snaps are set up is that it'll, and by default this is the way it is that it'll snap right in the middle of any line that you have set. I want to go about 10 millimeters high. And this is where I'm basically going to create like a spring for the catch of the part. I'm going to sketch a circle up here. Do a center point. I do a 2 millimeter circle. And you notice that it's still capturing everything as a construction line. So I want to change that. I'm going to change over here, turn off construction and make that an actual part that we're going to use for part of the drawing. I'm going to turn it off for now as well. So I'm going to create a line from here to here. And we want a tangent on that line. So I'm going to select this line and I'm going to tell it from this menu here that I want it to be tangent. Oh, where are you at? There we go. To this one. Actually, wrong one. I want it to be parallel. Sorry. From this one to this one. Okay, so now they're parallel. All right. So now I want this line here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the mirror function, which will probably be easier. I'm going to sketch, use the mirror function here. I'm going to select this one, and select the mirror line. That's this one. Click OK. All right. I'm going to do some trimming here. You can see how this is coming together. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to sketch a line from here to here, and that's going to be about 2.5. Let's do 3 millimeters, and this is what's going to do the catch. And like we said before, that is about 1 millimeter wide, so we're going to leave that to 1. And we're going to come back to this line here. Now from here to here should be about 1. Probably going to not be perfect. Let's take a look so we can inspect. I can click on this dot to this dot, and it's telling us that it's 1. So that works out. What I want to do though is that's fine. That should work out. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to sketch a circle, but I'm going to do a 2-point circle. I'm going to click from here, and you see how it follows the line because I'm close to it, and once again it's snapping to that line. I'm going to make it 1. And this is going to be where the remote, it's going to catch on that remote. So the spring is going to spring back, and hopefully in this area it'll catch onto the remote. And then we'll do a line from here to here. All right, so one more line here to here. There we go. Now everything is one piece. All right. So I think I have everything I need for the remote control at this point. So let's take a look. Got the spring portion and I have the body portion. So let's go back to the video camera. Let's measure out this portion. I hope I turn on my calipers. By the way, these are eye gauging. They've been doing me very well for this hobbyist type use. So they always go back to 0, which I like no matter how hard you slam. They seem to be very consistent. I have some feeler gauges that I've tested them on, and it's been pretty much dead on, as long as the battery doesn't go bad on you. Anyways, let's take a look to here. So it's about 15.3, capture that. And this is for that catch that we're working on now. I'm going to go with 15, just because I want to give some tolerances. So let's go ahead and do that. Back on the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this. What we're going to do is we're going to do it two-sided. And we're going to go 15 divided by 2. And actually what we're going to do is, I'm sorry, not two-sided, symmetric. It's what we want. So like I said, we want 15 divided by 2. So that gives us our, oh, I messed up. So let's go back to that drawing. Let's go back to that extrusion. What I forgot to do, and we can always go back. This is one of the beautiful things about Fusion is you can go back and edit mistakes. So I didn't trim out this portion of the ball that I wanted there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to select, and I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select that. It's a beautiful thing about Fusion. You always go back in the history to see what you've done and be able to correct those mistakes. All right, so there we go. So we have the catch. Like I said, that was 15, so that works. Now our drawing kind of disappeared on us, but that's okay. So if you see my other videos, you know you can go back and turn it back on. So anytime you use a drawing to extrude or make something, it disappears on you, but that's by design. We can always turn it back on. All right, so here we are. I'm going to go ahead and now create the body portion of this. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this as well. And I'm going to once again do symmetric again. And this time, let's see what it is. 25.4, 25.3. So I'm going to just use 25. Once again, we want some tolerances to not be super tight onto that. So we're going to go ahead and click on here, click 25 divided by 2. The reason I'm divided by 2 is because it's, once again, it's going both ways. If I was to do 25, it would do 25 all the way. And it'll be 50, basically, the total. All right, so once again, we can verify that now just by clicking on this line, and you can see it's 25 millimeters. Now you notice that my drawing stayed on this time is because it knew that, hey, it's you still use, you've already turned it on once manually, so that's good for us. So next item we have is just the catch back here, and that's going to be, 14, but I'm going to go a little on the conservative side. I think this doesn't have to be very accurate. This needs to, prevent it from coming out. I'm going to say 13 on here. Once again, this is not an exact science, or I don't want to say exact science, more like it's not NASA. We're not required to have everything perfect. And we want, once again, 13 divided by 2. It's not letting me do that. Let's do this. 13 divided by 2. There we go. Okay. So there we have it, pretty much coming along good. So, you know what? I'm not sure that this bump is big enough. So I'm gonna make this bump, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. So once again, we can always go back on our history here. So this is our history. If we can always scroll back on the history of what you've done. But if I double click on this sketch, it'll let me re-edit that sketch. So what I can do now is, because this was 1, I'm gonna make it 2. All right. Now let's see. Let's stop sketch, and see, it kind of broke that right now, but that's fine, because we can just once again go back to that extrude and select select that profile. Well, that looks a little better to me. Okay, yeah, that looks good. All right. The next thing that I need to do is I need to install a battery on this, and I'm going to find out how high that battery is. Now, if your calipers came with this, this is what this is for, just to measure wider holes. And for some reason this slipped off on mine. Put it back on. And let's see what it comes out to be. About 6.24, so I'll call it 6. So 6 minus 2 is 4, because we're measuring from the very top of the, so we got to figure that out. And the battery is about 14 diameter. So this is how I'm going to do this. So we're going to create a new sketch on top of here. So let's create sketch. Let's create a line in the center. There we go. All right, cool. And now let's create a rectangle. We're going to use center point. Our center point here. And we know we want this to be 14, so I'm going to manually type in 14. And let's see, let's make this 30 across. No, that doesn't look good. Let's make it 40 across. That looks good. Let me make sure with that 14 right here, close. Oops. Let's inspect that. No, 14. Okay. So that's going to be, yep, as wide as the battery. Awesome. And what I'm going to do is we're going to basically take this, we're going to select this portion of the drawing and this portion of the drawing, and we're going to extrude up 4. Because the battery was 6, so 4, and then 5 and 6. So this is 2 millimeters here, and this is 4, so that's 6. So now I'm going to create one more drawing. So I'm going to create a sketch from here. I'm going to create sketch. And what I'm going to do is, what is that? Okay. I'm going to create, sketch a circle, 2 dot. From here up, we're going to do 14 as well. Okay. All right, so there we go. That's representing the battery, basically, the battery compartment. So what I want is, I really don't, I just needed to snug the battery a little bit, so I guess I don't need the full 14. So let's go ahead, let's create a line somewhere here. Let's go right here. I think that's going to be enough all the way down. So let me move that out of the way. I know I want it 90 degrees right there. So there to there. That's fine. And let's sketch a line from here to here as well. And then what we could do is then make this a stop sketch. Oops. Actually, I don't want to stop sketch, but to go back into it, just double click on the sketch that you're working on. Let's make this line a construction line. But let's mirror the other line. That way we have a perfect symmetrical line on the other side. Selected. Oops. Select this one and mirror to this one. Click OK. All right, so what we could do now is we can select these faces. Well, let's select these two faces first. And what we could do is extrude those all the way across. And that'll give it, and we're doing the operation as cut. It automatically detected that we were going into material, so it wants to cut it. That's fine. Let's go bring up our drawing again by clicking on the light bulb. Let's select these two right here and extrude those all the way across. Another nifty little trick is, although we did 40, so it was easy, but you click on this face over here, it'll automatically take you to that face. So 40. So now we have a nice little thing where the battery can sit on. I think we're almost done. The only thing that I'm going to make changes to is that parts aren't necessarily great when they're 90 degrees. As far as 3D printed parts, it's always good to have some type of radius. If not, it causes weakness in on the printed parts. So I'm going to use the F key to bring up my fillet command and go here, and let's do this right here. Let's give it 0.75. Should be good. No, yeah, that should be good. Or 0.5. What actually? Let's see if I can cancel that. Let's cancel that real quick. Let's see if I can select. I can select these lines as well. There we go. Okay, I see it's doing it differently. So yeah, 0.5 should be good. There, actually, let's unselect those two. So let's just do this. 0.5. That should be good for that. Let's select. Let's turn off all the drawings. I'm not going to need them anymore. So let's select this line, this line. Oops, zoom out. This line. Let's give that a 1. Once again, this is just for strength. This part really doesn't need it as bad, but it's okay. Let's do it right here. Okay, so I'm going to OK for that. Let's do it here. Once again, this is going to be in a lot of pressure. So let's make that 1.75. Looks good. I think this is going to be all right. Down here, both of these, I'm going to do these both here, right here. Once again, these are going to be under a lot of pressure. So let's do 0.125 there. And this one right here is going to be very important. So let's do 0.25 here. Okay. I think that was all. That's all the hard edges that I can see. All right, so I'm going to print this out from top to bottom on the 3D printer. So let's go ahead and save and move it to our slicer program. So we're going to go click on File, 3D Print. I'm going to select this part. I'll check off the custom because I just want an STL file. Cover. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. All right. So let's go into Slicer. Okay, so here we are in our slicer. We're going to add the part that we just did. There we are. We're using PLA today. It's going to be a red PLA. So we're going to go ahead into print settings. Infill, this one I'm going to make it a little bit more. Let's do 50%. I think that'll just help with the stiffness a little bit. And I think I'm going to do support material as well. Yes, support from build plate only because we're going to be supporting this portion right here. I don't really want it to do it here, but let's see what that gives us. So I want this to be as springy as we can. So let's see what that gives us. Slice now. Let's take a look at the preview. All right, good. So it didn't do it where I wanted it. That's good, but they give me support material on this part right here, which I'm fine with. It didn't do it there. So it's going to start the print there. And it's just going to go up like that. All right, so I'm going to export this. Click Save. So here we are on the Octoprint. Octoprint is an operating system that runs, it's a Linux operating system that runs on a Raspberry Pi. It just allows me to have my printer connected remotely, kind of like a wireless printer. That way the printer can be anywhere. So yeah, that's what Raspberry Pi is. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the printer because I just turned it on. And then we're going to take the file we just created, which is remote control.g code. There we go. And I'm going to move it over to Raspberry Pi. There it is. And we're going to go ahead and click print. All right, so it's going to go off to the printer now. And I'll come back when the print job's done. There we go. Okay, so here we have our finished print, straight from the printer. I'm going to go ahead and put some batteries in the remote. Let's see if it works. All right, it's a little tight over here. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Seems to be holding perfectly. It's very flush to the top there. Fits very flush, very good fit actually. Surprisingly for the first time. Not coming off. It's actually feels a little hard to take off, but hey, that's, you kind of want battery covers not to come off. I mean, that's a very positive click. And let's see if it's working yet. I have a light there indicating that the remote control is working. All right, so yeah, this is it. So thank you for watching. If there's any questions or if I didn't go over something like I should have, I know I kind of skipped over the slicing and the filaments just because there's just so much to know about that portion of it. I basically used the basic PLA profile that came with the program. So there really wasn't much changes other than the support for the part that goes underneath here. And really, if that's really it, I think. I would appreciate any subscribers, since I am affected by that new YouTube policy of 1,000 subs. So if you don't mind, please subscribe to my channel. That way I can keep it alive for a little longer. I would definitely appreciate it if you like the video. If you don't, leave a negative comment, tell me why and how I can improve my channel. Until then you guys have a great one. See ya.